Faheema Adia, equity analyst at Momentum Investments, joining us this evening to speak through how the market started off the week. Not a great start, one would say, Faheema. The JSE largely muted throughout most of the afternoon, albeit ending marginally in the green. And we saw that market participants are watching with a bit of caution or concern about the tone that global central banks are setting when it comes to continuing on the hiking path of interest rates.
Good evening, Rapia. Yes, so the JSE was slightly firmer today, but pretty much muted. Along with a few other markets across the world, like you said, there's been quite a bit of volatility in recent weeks. And of course, the JSE has been impacted by what is happening in the US and other parts of the world. So there has been a lot of mixed signals. The latest data from the US released last week showed that the economy there actually continues to grow beyond consensus expectations, and also job growth has been stronger than what they had expected. So all this implies that the economy is not cooling as much as the Fed would have hoped. And on the back of that, there's now been more hawkish sentiments coming out of the Fed. And it seems like there will be a few further rate hikes coming up in the next few months.
Is this the reason that we saw a bit of a weakening in the local currency yesterday, trading at around 18 Rand 84 against the US dollar? I mean, it's clawed back some of those losses, currently at around 18.74. But are we seeing the interest rate story coming out of the US putting a bit of pressure on the local currency?
Yeah, definitely, Rafiwa. So that hawkish tone from the Fed is definitely impacting the Rand along with other emerging market currencies, because the dollar has been strengthening on the back of these expected rate hikes. We also, of course, have some of our own unique local challenges that could be weighing on the currency. For example, this Russia-Ukraine stance that we are taking. We've taken quite a neutral stance there, and there are concerns about the consequences that will have for us in terms of our membership with AGOA. But yes, I think the main driver there has been the more hawkish tone coming from the US.
Some company updates now, Faheema. Let's start with Mondi. They're a paper and packaging company finalizing their exit from Russia. I mean, they did make the announcement in December last year, but would you say that the reason that they have got now this 30-odd million euro to give back to shareholders is because of the conflict that we're seeing, or are there some other reasons for them to divest from that country?
Yeah, I think the main reason they decided to walk away from Russia last year was because of the Russia-Ukraine war. They are trying to divest from the country along with a lot of other companies that have exposure there. So they've reached an agreement to sell 3 of their Russian packaging operations to GoTech Group for about 30 million euros, which, like you said, they will be returning back to shareholders. But it was actually sold at quite a big loss of between 70 to 89 million euros. But however, they're still in the process of disposing of their most significant assets in Russia, called SkyTavar. So that business was meant to be sold a while back, but the deal there with their partner fell through. So they do need to still dispose of that, and discussions are still ongoing.
And then an update on the takeover of RB Platinum by Impala. A lot of approvals coming through over the last couple of days, but also still a bit of concern around this particular deal when it came to the initial involvement of Northam Platinum. Your thoughts on the approvals coming through from the JSE, but also from the takeover regulation panel, and it proceeding, albeit some of the concerns that I've just highlighted?
Yes, this deal's been going on for a very long time. So it's great to see that they've finally getting this deal over the line, and they've gotten the necessary approvals there. There were a lot of hurdles that they had to overcome, in particular that bidding war with Northam over the assets. So Northam eventually pulled out after the commodity prices had fallen, and they received some pressure from their shareholders that didn't really see the synergies between Northam and RB Platts. So I think what worked in Implat's favor is they eventually managed to get the PIC stake, and they now have 55% of a controlling interest in RB Platts. So we think this is a great deal for Implat. There are, of course, a lot of synergies between the two companies, and the assets are also in close proximity to each other. So it does make sense.
It does indeed, and we look forward to that finalisation. And then finally, Faheema, another development with Northam. They're giving an update on their debt or the facilities they have, increasing their revolving credit facility, saying that the extra liquidity will help with the company's operations. One looking at it wouldn't think much of it, but I was wondering, given that the mining companies have had such a good run over the last 2 years or so, why would you be needing to increase your RCF, for example?
Yeah, so I think it's probably sort of like a cushion and buffer, given the falling commodity prices and also the headwinds that the mining sector has been experiencing lately, in particular due to load shedding. I do think that it just gives them a bit more liquidity and puts them in a safer position. And the other reason they did it was to also extend their debt maturity. So the current one that they actually discontinued was due to expire soon. So this helps them to push out the debt profile now to 2027. So they have enough liquidity to last them until then. So I think that was probably the main reason behind that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're still optimistic about Northam Platinum, just looking at how they're approaching the liquidity and also just how they're wanting to optimize operations?
Yeah, look, I think, mining pressures in general have been mining companies in general have been under pressure because of the falling commodity prices. But as we see a rebound in that, and once we see the global economy start to recover, then they should stand to do well as commodity prices begin to recover. So yes, in the long term, I think we should hopefully see some recovery there.
Thank you very much, as always, for your insights. That is Faheema Adia. She is an equity analyst at Momentum Investments, joining us this evening to take us through how the market started off for the week.